What's good, y'all? It's Pod.cannion, and I'm back with another reaction video. We have another Reedmysoul. I'm not gonna lie, y'all, bro. These videos could get like 20 views, and I'ma still spam these videos because his like takes on hip hop, his perception, I like. Of course, I feel like he's more educated than me on it, but I feel like as far as the basic stuff, we kind of locked in. And this title, oh man, I've been saying this for a minute. Not the AI part, but just the swagger jacker part. Like, when you really think about it on what AI rappers are, Drake essentially not is the first one, but I would say he is the biggest, or was the biggest, like, AI rapper, in my opinion. Now, I know he's going to break it down, so I'm not even going to try to break it down, you know what I'm saying? We just going to see what bro got to say, and if I got a yap, y'all going to hear my side comments as well. That's how reactions go. But yeah, if y'all like the video, you know what to do. Like, if it helps out the small channels like me, I'm trying to get to 300. Appreciate y'all tuning in and stuff like that. Like, I really feel like, you know what I'm saying, we got a little community, and I like that I'm starting to post like just a bigger variety of content to give y'all a bigger variety of stuff to choose from, you know? I don't want to feel like this channel is in a box. I know it may slow down the growth of the channel. That's fine. The channel's kind of just for chilling, you know what I'm saying? Like, if we so happen to get like a crazy amount of subscribers, like, that will be cool, but it's not the goal, you know. Let me let the video start first before I start yapping though. So yeah, I said the intro already. Let's get it.
There is a huge difference between being influenced by something and swagger jacking and biting something.
Talk
One of
about
my
it.
biggest critiques towards Drake is that he is a swagger jacker. He is a biter.
100%.
They often
He
say
takes that.
imitation is the highest form of flattery, but in hip-hop, that is a no-no. You must come up with your own unique style and
Thank
perspective.
you, sir. Shake my
Otherwise,
hand.
you're just Milli Vanilli.
Come on now. That's why I said. That is exactly why I said. Drake in 2024-25. I read that while I was about to start my thought. But yeah, people like Milli Vanilli, I was like, he's not the first, but he is one of the biggest. Yes, this is where stuff went crazy.
Drake has been masterful at this for years. This conversation and this video came to me when I was having a debate with a person about...
Because it's actually crazy just how much I realized, like, with people around me in my, you know what I'm saying, in the different, like, spaces with hip-hop, how much he actually had these niggas fooled. Like, he actually had these niggas convinced that he was like that. That he... Let's
influence. I was speaking on Drake's theory. I was speaking on how Drake steal and swagger jack people. Other people were talking about the influence. Now, there is no doubt in my mind that Drake was influenced by Kanye, Andre 3000, Fontaine, Slum Village, Little Brother.
What up, Lil Bruh? What up, Slumville? Dedicate this to Kanye West, to Andre 3000, and to Fontaine of Little Brother.
But that was extremely popular at the time. But what Drake failed to mention until years later is that he was trying to rap like Joe Budden.
You didn't just catch me out here too. I came to support Joe.
Come on.
Just for the record, anybody watching.
That makes those Joe Budden disses hit even more. Yo. I'm not gonna lie, them Joe Budden.
Thank you very much.
Joe Budden murdered that man.
Let's be honest
like,
for just
Drake
a second there.
If Drake put any type of attention to those Joe Budden disses, his career would have already been over. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I'm not gonna cap.
See, people think Joe Budden is some podcaster or a one-hit wonder. Joe Budden is a way better artist than we in the mainstream give him credit for. He had a series called Mood Music that was
Now, what he does when he's away from a microphone, that's none of my that's none of my business. Y'all gotta ask Joe about that. I think he finally did like a statement, but yeah, as far as like when he's behind a microphone, at least I fuck with him.
Popular back then on the MySpaces, on the early blog era. And if you listen to that music and to that series, you know where Drake got his whole thing from.
Like Mr. Softy, they in the hood getting treated like Mr. Softy. Yeah, slap the 4/5. If you believe that, then you believe Rick James got a natural cause.
Come on.
First string girl handle a lot. Cause up north is a scandalous spot. They think I'm pretty and rich, but big one, I'm on the Canada block. And some sweatpants, sandals, socks, cause I could do that.
Swagger jacket.
Way of viewing women in relationships, the emotional, introspective, woe is me raps, the sad boy raps. He got all of that from Joe Budden. When I first heard Drake, I instantly heard Joe Budden. Now, of course, hip hop in its core is a genre that builds itself upon other genres. So you always gonna hear some type of influence. You're always gonna hear something else when you listen to certain artists, especially depending on what they're listening to at that time. But there is a difference between influence and swagger jacking. Whenever Drake is trying to achieve a sound and he's trying to move in a different direction artistically, he literally takes a smaller artist and studies them and copies them and then give it out. Best example of that is XXXTentacion and Quentin Miller. Quentin Miller wasn't just some ghostwriter.
I was really excited. I thought I was gonna have a Drake feature because at the time Drake was just doing random.
This jump made me sad too, because he really got blackballed from the industry after this, and all he did was just make a song that he thought Drake was gonna be on. And the fact that Drake only paid this nigga $30K for those songs that was actively giving him millions of dollars just shows to me why he is a businessman before he's an artist. Because that's some grimy shit only a businessman would be capable of. A real, bro, come on now. I don't care how selfish people think they are. If you're a real artist and you see somebody's craft, you're not going to take that whole song and make it for yourself. Now, I'd be honored to be a part of, like, you know what I'm saying, a feature and be on people's songs, but not once have I thought, well, I will say there have been times where I thought, damn, why didn't I write this? But there's never been a song that I've heard to been like, ooh, I need that. I'ma act like I wrote all of that because I know it's not me. I didn't make that. And a lot of people like on Drake's side just fail to realize just how big of a deal breaker that is for people in that artist mind state. To be able to steal, like, especially like when you look at like whatever your art is as something that's really close to you, if you just had another artist steal that, say it's their own, and then make millions off of something that you've created with no credit being given to you, you don't even get a freaking percentage of that. I can't respect Drake as an artist with shit when he does shit like
just up and coming artists, you know. So I thought I was about to be one of those lucky artists.
Quentin Miller was working on music and was trying to be an artist himself. Drake made him into a ghostwriter, even though he was accredited, and basically took his words verbatim and laid them down.
You end up basically co-writing what became Used To, 10 Bands, Legend, and 6 Man.
Yeah.
And no, Drake did not put his arm around him like he did The Weeknd and say, this is the guy I'm working with, we're making music. No, he wanted to keep it under wraps as best as possible. Yes, it was not a collaboration the way Drake and his team likes to make it seem. Quentin Miller, he thought when he got the call from OVO that they were going to be working on music together.
Drake literally was looking me in my face like, yo, man, this album wouldn't be possible if it weren't for you. Like,
I would say, if you're reading this, it's too late. Is my favorite Drake project, period. And I'm not just saying that because I'm talking to you.
So I was editing this video and I realized I had to give y'all a crazy hot take for y'all to argue about in the comment section. Drake's best album is If You're Reading This Is Too Late. If you listen...
I disagree. I strongly disagree. If You're Reading This Is Too Late, it's the first time that I realized, I was like, this doesn't feel like Drake anymore. And in hindsight, I realized just how right I was because literally I was listening to If You're Reading This, It's Too Late. And I was just like, this doesn't feel like Drake. It felt like he was trying to be somebody. And I remember being in school telling people like, I'm sorry, yeah, I didn't mess with that record. I just had to listen to other people. And people's response were, who do you listen to? Who could you possibly listen to other than Drake? And I'm like, yo, even back then, in 2015, I was like, y'all, come on now. There are so many other artists out there. I cannot listen to Drake and be just fine. It's even easier now because there is so much good music out. So much good music out now. But no, it's not. And especially with it coming out that he ain't even write half of the songs, I disagree, fam. My favorite Drake album is Nothing Was the Same. That outro with Jay-Z is perfect. I'm not even gonna lie to you. It's one of the only perfect Drake songs that, like, I'll even still admit, like, that song hits. Hits. Oh my gosh, that song hits. Still to this day. Even the intro, the motherfucking sample flip, and just, oh, yeah, I'm sorry, fam. Nothing Was the Same is and always will be Drake's best album. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Just think about the amount of hits. Just revisit.
To Drake, that is his best album. I don't want to have no debate with nobody. I might make a video on it one day.
Nothing Was the Same.
It's Too Late is Drake's best album.
Nothing Was the Same.
Drake wanted to get into that UK grime scene.
Oh
he
yeah, we're
studied
about to
and
do this
copied
shit.
the XXX song "Look at Me."
Generate sampler.
Literally.
All right, so let's see what happens.
I'm glad that song didn't go anywhere. I'm glad people realized what he was doing.
In
Like,
the blogs
fuck.
and on SoundCloud. Drake used to upload a lot of songs to SoundCloud, so you know he was always watching. He was always paying attention to them little younger artists that were bubbling. No pun intended about messing with little younger artists. That's what he would do. When he was falling in love with Georgia Smith and he wanted to go into that more Afro beats type of vibe, that more, how you say, worldly music, he studied Wizkid. This is what Drake has been doing. When he wanted that Atlanta sound, he studied and copied, word for word, Quentin Miller. This is what Drake does.
What's really going on? Soulja Boy up in this thing, I'm ready. What's happening?
He just took my whole flow, word for word, bar for bar, word for word, bar for
He started that
bar.
out years
Drake
ago with Joe Budden. Drake would never mention Joe Budden. Remember, Drake is a master manipulator.
Oh no, he knew better.
He's not who he portrays to be. Early on, he wanted to align himself with the backpack rappers, with the Kanye's, with the Slum Village, with the Little Brothers. So that's what it was in the public. But in the strip club and in the hookah club, he was with Joe Budden, and that's where he got his influence from. Because Drake has always been the more Joseph Budden type of character. Now, if you know Joe Budden's life and his career, you know exactly why Drake and Joe Budden have had some of the same women.
Now, you asked me how Theory was feeling.
Drake is so Joe Budden when it comes to toxicity in relationships with females. Most of Drake's early rapping was mirrored after Joe Budden, even though, yes, he was influenced by what was popping at the time. But in the reality, he wanted to be more Joe Budden. He was more jaded than a Kanye, than a Little Brother, than an Andre 3000. Joe Budden is probably still jaded. You know, he's kind of chilled out now. He's a podcaster now. But Joe Budden was very much toxic when it comes to women. You can go listen to the Mood Music series. Drake is a swagger jacker. He will study somebody, get them close to him, get on a record with them, and then move forward. He's done this time after time. He did a whole mixtape with Future. And if you listen to that, that was really some of Drake's worst rapping. It was way more swag rapping, but it was some of his worst rapping.
Jumpin', them boys up to something.
I
think I need some Robitussin. If you even look at Find Your Loving, Kanye West wrote it. Kanye West helped him produce it. You can hear that. Drake took that formula and kept going. You can also hear it when he worked with The Dream. You can hear it at every given moment. If you just open your ears and you open your eyes and you see that Drake is a Majin Buu type of person where he just watches something, he mimic it, and go. Drake is a biter. And if you don't know what swagger jacking and influence is, you definitely on the wrong channel. Are you even hip-hop? You don't know what swagger jacking is? Yo, Drake is known for this. People say Fontaine. Yeah, even he would. But everybody knew it was Joe Budden. That's why Joe Budden was on his helmet for years.
Oh,
he admitted to the Rap Radar podcast a few years ago.
So, yeah, I mean, I used to rap like Budden back in the day.
Because Drake is a master manipulator. And the truth of Drake is that he's copied artist after artist after artist in order to get that success. I love McConan. I mean, I can keep naming stuff.
Fuck.
I like to
Fuck. Virginia. Virginia, man. Shout out Virginia, yo.
That record and made Hotline Bling. Going up on a Tuesday, he studied that record and made his verse. Fetty Wap, All I Gotta Do, he studied that, made his verse. Migos, this is what Drake does.
Man, I ain't even like that verse either. Niggas was sucking off Drake for that fucking verse, bro. I like Monty's verse better. And I know a nigga's gonna be like, no, Monty's verse was ass. Yo, I'm not gonna lie. That shit just... I'm just revisiting it now.
Swagger jacker. And that's the reason why Joe Budden, if you look at his disses towards Drake, they were literally the blueprint for Kendrick Lamar.
Yes.
He dropped 3 disses within a month, 2 within a week. Because he's been so big, he's been able to dodge these critiques and dodge these criticisms. And people always just want to give him credit. I don't know. It's something about the black culture that doesn't like to see somebody get picked on. Nobody ever wants to be on one side of an argument. It always feels like people just want to, man, Drake ain't that bad, man, he ain't that, man, y'all tripping. It's just Drake time. It's like, no, bro. If you really look at the critiques, and if you do this for real, I do this for real, you understand the biting and the swagger jacking. You know what I realize is a lot of people who like to just say talking points from other people and don't really have the knowledge and don't really have the facts and don't really understand the artist that is Drake, the manipulator, the swagger jacket that is Drake, his tactics of finding XXX on SoundCloud, finding these different certain artists and taking from them. The funny thing is, he's never been able to take from Kendrick. He's never been able to take from...
Are you seeing it now? Are you seeing why he didn't accept that feature request? Are y'all seeing it? Because a lot of people will be like, I don't know why he didn't do that. I don't know why. Obviously, if you see Drake's track record, you know exactly what he was going to do.
Code. Kendrick said, I want to see AI copy this. Hold up, wait a minute. AI gotta practice the double entendre. Because you can't really copy Kendrick. And every time AI has come out about Kendrick, with Kendrick's sound and his voice and all that, we've been able to tell. Drake is low-key that type of person. He is the AI. He is the type of person that wants to get around you, mimic you, and replicate you. Literally. He never said, yo, this is the dude that I've been making these slaps with. He never did that.
Never said that.
He wanted to make it seem as though he came up with this music on his own. Drake is very masterful at that. Yes, he credited him because that's his fallback. Yo, I credited him. He's not a ghostwriter, but you never gave us what he did. And Drake is done that. He literally did it with Quit. He tried to do it with X. X was like, nah. He did it anyway. He just studied the record and came up with it anyway. Anytime Drake wanted to switch artistically and musically, all he did was steal and swagger jack and bite from a certain artist for him to get to that level. And that's the difference between being influenced by something and swagger jacking it. Drake was definitely no doubt influenced by the backpack rappers of the early 2000s, right? Of the late early 2000s. Definitely. But he swagger jacked Joe Budden at the time, and he never ever mentioned it until years later. Literally. Drake is a swagger jacker, and that's the reason why a lot of people are upset with him, and that's the reason why I don't give him credit like that. Once you're a cheater, when you want me to give you credit when you...
Come on. That's my thing. It's like, how can you... I just don't see him as an artist. He's a pretender. He's an actor. Because if you have to take a nigga's whole song, it's not your song. You know what I'm saying? And I don't see your motivation to make music the same. You know, because... Oh, brother, bro. It's like... you're not making music to like share emotion or, you know what I'm saying, share stuff about yourself in a way. You know? You're not. It's insane, y'all. It's just crazy. Uh yeah, he reminded me about a lot of stuff that, like, you know what I'm saying? We really be forgetting just the amount of like loud loud stealing he's been doing, but like, man, yeah, I can't give Drake that type of respect, you know? You feel me? But yeah, if y'all like the video, like it, subscribe if you're new, because all we do is chill over here. With that being said, y'all be great. Y'all be safe. Keep getting to that bag. And I'm going to catch you on the next video. Peace.